Hello, here I am again in my hovel, surrounded by the detritus of my days, and I want to share another couple of poems with you, both of them in different ways dealing with the situation we find ourselves in, or at least the situation I find myself in. Not that I've ever really found myself ever in all my 73, nearly 74 years, but there you go, that's another story. Two poems. The first one I wrote at the beginning of this crisis in the whole COVID-19 situation, and the second one which I wrote this morning. Both of them dealing with that situation, but in different ways. Anyway, without further ado, the first one, which I wrote maybe 3 months ago, just after the situation broke, as they say, is basically a transcription of a telephone call with my aunt in Toronto. And it's called, What Can You Do? My Aunt Rita calls me from Toronto. We talk about the current situation, how awful it is. What can you do, eh? She says, and sighs in the stoic, good-natured way that reassures us all. She tells me 95% of Canadian deaths are in care homes, the highest in the world. What can you do? It's snowing in Toronto, and Jimmy called to say 2 inches fell in King City that very morning, as if we haven't got enough on our plate at the moment. What about the poor? I ask her, meaning the destitute who hang outside the mission on Queen, but which she takes to mean those in receipt of state aid who are getting $500 a week or something and the whole country bankrupt. The same everywhere, I tell her. It's all breaking down. What can you do, eh? She says, and asks about my brother. He's okay, I say, but doesn't understand why nobody can visit him anymore. Isn't that terrible? She says. Yes, I say, but what can you do? It's the dementia. I know, she says. I never thought he would get that. I tell her, it doesn't discriminate. He's the sweetest guy, she says. I was just talking about him yesterday, how he rolls along through life, just like Fred. Always got a good word for everyone, Irish to his bones. It's true, I tell her, and we hang up. Later, I run into Emily and Ella, and we walk up to the Hoe. We sit in the sun and look out over the Sound, which stretches blue and placid to the far horizon. We talk about the current situation, about the effectiveness of masks, the safety of supermarket shopping. We FaceTime with Grace and talk about the children, always the children, the significance of age, and how the world has disappeared now that time has stopped. Sitting here in the sun, I feel its warmth on my face. I fell in the street the other day, hurt my hip. This morning I weighed 162 pounds. I'm 73. What can you do? Tomorrow, they say, it'll turn cold. And the second poem, which I have right here, is the one I wrote this morning. It's called, What Do You Want From All This? The mealy mouth, the reluctant promise, the paper it's written on, the space between, the ears, the dumb receptor, the stereotypes, the cantankerous old git, the mewling child, the slovenly mother, the blood that runs cold in the father's veins, the benefits, the needle, the shop doorway, the state of welfare, the pen, the knife, the gun, the pathologizing of poverty, the gutters, the rain, the fluidity of pain, the margins, the margins, the margins, the big oil, the big pharma, the big profit, the loss of perspective, the sickness, the death toll, the numbers, the margins, the global economy, the financial outlook, the paper it's written on, the things it leaves out, the equation, the heat rising. The bubble, the film that separates us, frozen in time, the woman on her phone, the weary voice, the inevitability of arriving home, the assumed role, the bruised face, the broken limb, the house on fire, the certainty of cancer, the consequences of grief, the mulling it over, the triviality of opinion, the holy idea of nation, the filth of the tribe, the middle classes, the empty space, the leaving of Liverpool, the other place, the bigger place, wherever, whatever. That it should come to this, that it should be like this, that it should be over before it's begun, that it should be taken seriously, the laughter in the first place, the opinion piece, the leader, the football results, the bland announcements, the spending plans. The fact is, we are all in this together. The suffering fools, the power, the pinstripe suit, the knee on the neck, Ralph Ellison's ghost. The fact is, the greatest crime is sentimentality, the bleeding of hearts, the wringing of hands, the feel-good movie, the happy ever after, the wailing of innocence, the not seeing, the poverty of art, the political blunder, the diversion of action, the streams of process. The facts are the invisibility of the other, the possibility of a world. That's it. Slater.